What is going on, you guys? It's your boy Wapo here, back with a brand new video for Marvel Strike Force. And in this video, you guys, I'm going to be doing a tier list of the best teams in Marvel Strike Force. Yeah, we're going to rank them all, man. So let's get right into it. So we're here in the tier list maker. I'm going to just give you guys my opinions on what I think about all these teams in Marvel Strike Force. We're going to kick it off here with A-Force. A-Force is a war team. They're still somewhat used in Alliance War. Currently, I am playing in a Plat 4 and Plat 3 Alliance in terms of Alliance War, and I would say they're just good at the moment. They can kill some stuff, but they're really not used anywhere outside of Alliance War. I guess Photon is probably like the key member of this team, and she's on the Secret Defenders team, but outside of, like I said, Alliance War, they're not very, very good. Next team we have is Absolute A-Force. I'm going to go ahead and put Absolute A-Force in Demigod. Kahori, really Kahori is like the main character that you want to be building up on this team. You also have Miss Marvel Classic. I think the two-piece of those two is very, very good. In Alliance War, these guys are absolute god tier. But outside of that, they're really, they're kind of just like, kind of meh, to be honest. Right now in Cosmic Crucible, they are buffed in the global rules, but they're still, they're still not very much of a powerhouse. Kahori by herself, though, Kahori in Season 13 of Cosmic Crucible is an absolute powerhouse. So Kahori alone really does carry a lot of weight on this team. So for that reason, we're going to stick them in Demigod. They're not a god tier team, in my opinion. The next team is we have AIM. AIM is trash, aside from Scientist Supreme. But Scientist Supreme belongs to the Orcus team. There's nobody else on this team that's worth building, so we're going to stick them in trash tier. Alpha Flight. Alpha Flight is needed for Spotlight, and they're just because they're needed for Spotlight and they're more useful than A-Force, we're going to stick them right here. We're going to do, in terms of importance slash power, we're going to put them from left to right in terms of best to worst. So they are going to go in the good tier, but they're going to go next to Alpha Flight. Now, I'm thinking whether they should go in Demigod tier. So Alpha Flight has Sasquatch, and Sasquatch is a pre-taunted tank. He's probably like the third or fourth best pre-taunted tank in the game. And we have Guardian that has a really unique passive where he applies offense up on spawn to anybody. Northstar gets rid of revives. I mean, you could make a case that Alpha Flight isn't Demigod, but you're going to put him at the very, very tail end or somewhere in the middle of Demigod. So for now, we'll put him in Demigod, and then we'll switch them as we put more teams on this list. Annihilators. Annihilators, god tier. First god tier team in the game. I still think they're the best team in the entire game. They're the primary team, they're the apex team in Arena. They're very good in multiple different game modes. Any team that's useful and has some value in multiple game modes is going to be on this list for sure, and they're going to be way, way high up on my list, in my opinion. So Annihilators is a god tier team. They're needed. Arena, you got Raids. I'm sorry, Raids is like the only one that they're not good in. So you got Arena, War, Cosmic Crucible, as well as Alliance War. So they're good in 4 different game modes. So for that reason, we're going to stick them in the god tier. Now, Ultimus still gets some use. I use Ultimus a lot in Cosmic Crucible and Alliance War when I'm fighting a team that has a pre-taunt on the other side. To get through the pre-taunt, Silver Surfer is typically the one that gets benched, but if I need to use the full team for Alliance War because of the current buffs with full defending teams, then we will stick the full 5 Annihilators on defense. But really, it's just the 3-piece. You got Endgame Thanos, Gore, and Gladiator. Gladiator being the best pre-taunting tank in the game at the moment, spawning with Taunt as well as Safeguard. So you have to, like, if you're fighting an Annihilators team, you have to bring in like Ares or Apocalypse to get through the Safeguard, and you have to find another character to pair with Ares and Apocalypse to get through the taunt. So there's just a lot of mechanics that Annihilators has that are very, very good. And then obviously Endgame Thanos, one of the best characters in the entire game, probably a top 10, no, definitely a top 10 character in the game. I wouldn't say maybe top 5, but definitely a top 10 character in the game. He has an incredible passive that procs when he drops below 50%, as well as his ultimate. Just being able to clear safeguards from two, being able to clear 2 stacks of safeguard with 2 different abilities is pretty powerful. Next on the list, we have Asgardians. Guardians, I think they're not in absolute trash just because they are, a somewhat decent war defense team. We're going to stick them in average for now. They could be trash, but we're going to stick them in average for now just because we're feeling kind of nice. Astonishing X-Men, trash, unfortunately. There are some members from Astonishing X-Men that are useful, but like Beast and stuff. are all going to be pulled off and used for different teams that are more meta now. So, but Astonishing X-Men as a full is pretty trash in my opinion. Astral, I'm going to go ahead and stick for now in Demigod, but I'm going to give him the notch over. You know what? I'm going to stick Astral right here, and then we're actually going to move Absolute A-Force. Yeah, we're going to leave it. Let's do like this. Like if we're talking about in terms of importance, I think Alpha Flight is definitely more important than Astral and Absolute A-Force. So we could give him the notch, but I'm talking in terms of like power, like how strong the team actually is, right? So for that case, we're going to actually stick Astral up, give him the notch over Absolute A-Force. Kahori by herself is really good, but Astral as a full team, in my opinion, is better than Absolute A-Force and is better than Alpha Flight. Shadow King is an absolute unit. People kind of slept on Shadow King when he first came out, but they quickly found out, just how good Shadow King is. The team is a little bit slow. So if you're seeing them on defense, not in Alliance War, but if you see like an Astral and Cosmic Crucible on defense, you can use teams like the SNF team, which is like Void Knight, Cloak, Firestar, and just completely blow them up before they even get a turn. But in War, they're a completely different type of team. You definitely need something really strong to bring them down in War. And then obviously with Battleworld coming back, you're going to want to build this team up so that you can do a lot better in Battleworld. So that's pretty much all I got to say about Astral. Slow team, but once they get going, if they actually start taking some of their turns, they're a menace to deal with. Bifrost is going to be at the very, very tail end of average. Bifrost used to be the primary Mystic team for raids until Night Stalkers came out. So yeah, the only character on this team that I would suggest building would probably be Val, just for Dark Dimension. Everybody else on the Bifrost team is not worth putting resources into at the moment anymore. Moving on, we have Bionic Avengers. Bionic Avengers is trash. Don't build them. Vision is on that team, but Vision belongs to a different team now. So yeah, but the rest of Bionic Avengers are pretty trash. Black Order is trash as well. Brotherhood is trash as well. Cabal, we're going to stick up here in the Demigod. I think they're demigods. I do, just because of how good they are in two different game modes. They're pretty good in Alliance War, and they're still very, very good in Cosmic Crucible. Do we give him the notch over Alpha Flight? I don't know. We'll come back to that in a little bit. Dark Hunters, trash. Darkhold, sadly, they're just average. Darkhold used to be one of the best teams in the entire game, but unfortunately, because of just power creep, they're just not very good anymore. Morgan Le Fay was at one point like a top 5 character, but now, again, because of power creep, they're just not where they once were. So if they get some sort of rework, I think the team functions very well. But Agatha got pulled off of this team. She now belongs to a much better team. And Morgan Le Fay, she has an amazing kit, and her striker attack actually does a lot of damage if she hits into a vulnerable, but still super power crept, not worth building in my opinion. The only reason why you'd want to build up Morgan Le Fay would be to unlock Apocalypse. Same thing with Deathseed. Deathseed's average. Actually, Deathseed's worse than Darkhold, so we're gonna stick Deathseed in the trash tier. I'm sorry. Archangel, you're gonna need to build up Archangel a little bit just for the Apocalypse Saga unlock. But other than that, the rest of Deathseed is pretty garbage. Eternals I'm actually gonna stick into the good tier. Eternals are good, even though they're power corrupt. Their kits are just the 2-piece of Eternals is just still really good. If they ever release more Eternals and give the team a bit of a stat rework, they're going to be right back in the meta. They're going to be one of the best trios in the entire game, similar to like Undyne is now, and then they added another member to Undyne and just made it so much better. But Eternals still get a lot of use for me in Cosmic Crucible. If I need to rewind, in War as well, if I need to rewind, the only problem is power creep. So imagine Icarus with new stats. You're definitely going to be getting some double taps with your Eternals. Next on the list, we have Fantastic Four. Fantastic Four is pretty garbage in my opinion, with the exception of Invisible Woman, but Invisible Woman belongs to a different team. Everybody else on Fantastic Four is pretty garbage. Gamma, sadly, you know what? I'm still going to stick Gamma in good. I'm sticking a lot of the war teams that are just sort of like in the mid to low tier in good for now. Gamma is better than the Eternals. Yes. Gamma is better than A-Force. Yes, I would give him the notch there. And then I would just kind of leave it kind of like this. Actually, I'm going to put Eternals above A-Force. So it's going to be Gamma. So again, Red Hulk at one point was the best character in the game before Apocalypse came out, but a Gamma has kind of fallen off in Alliance War, where they once were the dominant team in Alliance War. Now they're kind of just a cleanup team, or I use them to punch up pretty significantly against Spider Society teams. But Gamma has definitely seen better days. It kind of sucks. I really liked the Gamma team. Guardians as a whole are pretty trash. Groot and Rocket are getting some reworks, but they belong to the Starjammers team. So 2 out of the 5 members from the Guardians team are actually very good now, but they don't belong to the Guardians team. So Guardians as a tag is pretty trash. God tier, Heroes for Hire, we're going to stick here in average. So this is one of the, like, Heroes for Hire at one point was like the best war defense team in the game. But would I say they're better than the rest of these? Probably not. Actually, in terms of order, I'd probably do Bifrost, because it's weird. Bifrost and his Guardians have a lot of the same team members. And then I'd probably put Darkhold like slightly below or slightly. I don't even know. It's just they're all pretty average in my opinion. But Heroes for Hire is probably like at the bottom of average. I wouldn't call them absolute trash because they're still very good in Alliance War on defense. If you have like a 3 mil, 4 mil Heroes for Hire, they could be pretty pesky. They're going to require a pretty strong team to kill them. Hive Mind is at the very end of good tier. And the only reason why is because the 3-piece of Hive Mind with Void Knight, Green Goblin, Void Knight, Red Goblin, and Carnage is actually have some really good synergies outside of just outside of their team. Right now, you still have to build Hive Mind if you're doing the Orcus raids because they're the only bio solution. So I'm running them with the 4-piece, dropping Venom, and then putting in Super Scroll for those bio sections of raids. But Hive Mind is going to slowly start creeping out of the meta because there's going to be a new bio team on the horizon. We don't know what it is yet, but they should be on their way out very, very soon. Hydra, trash. Illuminati. We're going to put Illuminati actually in the demigod tier. So we're sticking Illuminati up here. Don't know if I want to put them in god tier just yet. Illuminati shines, absolutely shines, and is the best defensive team in Cosmic Crucible at the moment. Starjammers will be coming out. So, but for now, I think we're going to stick Illuminati in God tier actually until the Starjammers come out. Then that might change them down one notch down to the demigod tier. But Illuminati is very, very good in Cosmic Crucible. They're the apex defense at the moment with Odin. And then they're also pretty good in Alliance War as well. So just for that reason, we're going to stick them into the God tier. Immortal X-Men, one of my favorite teams to use at the moment in Cosmic Crucible. We're actually going to stick them probably... I'm going to give them a notch just because I'm a huge Cosmic Crucible player and I love that game mode. I love the reworks they did to Storm, Beast, and well, Cable didn't really get much of a rework, but the rework they did to Storm is top tier. So I love how strong this Immortal X-Men team is in Cosmic Crucible. They're not the apex team in Cosmic Crucible, but they can kill a lot of really powerful stuff. So we're going to stick them in the demigod tier, just below Astral. Infestation, better than all of these teams down here in terms of Alliance War goes, but still not a very good team anymore. In fact, I would probably we'll put them in good for now, and we'll put Hive Mind above A-Force, but we'll put Hive Mind above Eternals as well. So I think this is going to be kind of the order in which they're in. Infestation is a good war defense team, very similar to Heroes for Hire. They're just a lot stronger than Heroes for Hire in my opinion. So I'm going to put them actually in the average tier, but at the very tippity top, or at the very front of the average tier. So that's kind of where they're going. Infinity Watch, man. Infinity Watch, one of the most well-built teams in the entire history of Marvel Strike Force. This team has really stood the test of time despite power creep. The release of Infinity Watch was one of my favorites. So they took 2 old characters in Gamora and Nebula. They gave them some reworks, and then they sold us 2 new characters in Phyla and Moonstone. And then they released Adam Warlock as a legendary character. I think this release of Infinity Watch was to this day, the best release method that they've ever done. So reworking two old characters that were pretty loved, selling us 2 new characters, and then putting out a legendary event for the legendary character on that team. I just think it was perfect, man. It was the perfect recipe. And I actually was getting some use out of them last season in Cosmic Crucible as a sort of Illuminati counter. Not a direct counter, but big enough Infinity Watches were actually killing big enough Illuminatis, which was insane. But Infinity Watch could, the whole point of Infinity Watch was to do like a sack team to try to kill the Captain Britain and then clean up with something else. So I'm going to give Infinity Watch the notch over A-Force, and I'm going to put them a little bit above Eternals. We're going to put them right here. I still think they're not like a very, very good team. They're a very well-designed team, but they're obviously power crept. If Infinity Watch ever got new stats, bro, they would be right back in the meta. Inhumans, garbage. Invaders, garbage. Nowhere is a war team that's decent. They're still decently good. If you got them built, they can kill some stuff, but I just think they're pretty average at this point. Nova, Nova is like the character that you want to build on that team, but even Nova is still kind of meh at this point. He's got a pretty high health pool and he's got a turn 1 stun, but the team as a whole is kind of trash. Kree is trash. Marauders, garbage. Masters of Evil once was the Apex Cosmic Crucible team, but they've kind of fallen off quite a bit. But we're actually going to give them the notch over the Eternals, and we're going to stick them right here next to Masters of Evil. I think, yeah, King the Conqueror's got a very unique passive that can give your team speed up on spawn, so he's like a Cable 2.0. But the team as a whole is kind of boo boo. But they do shine they don't really shine. They've had better days in Cosmic Crucible. If anything, you're just using Kang and sometimes Absorbing Man as plug and play characters in Cosmic Crucible. I'm using Kang with Cabal and like Ultimates or something in Cosmic Crucible. All right, Mercenaries, garbage. Mercs for Money. Oh boy, Mercs for Money is another god tier team. And I'm gonna be honest, man. Mercs for Money, yeah, god tier. I would actually give them the notch over Illuminati. We're gonna give Hand the notch over Annihilators. Mercs has Old Man Logan. Mercs has Old Man Logan on the team, and Logan is an absolute, he's a team in itself, to be honest with y'all. But yeah, Mercs for Money, very, very good in Alliance War. They're one of the best teams in Alliance War at the moment. And in Cosmic Crucible, you can use them as a full team, or you could just use like Logan as a plug and play character. But I do think Mercs is a god tier team. Mighty Avengers, I haven't really got to test them too much in Alliance War. But I think we're going to put them in the demigod tier for now, just because they're a new statted team. And yeah, I still have to do some testing with Mighty Avengers, but they're pretty good in Alliance War. I know they can kill a lot of really good stuff like Mephisto teams and stuff. We're going to give them the notch over Alpha Flight. We're going to give them the notch over Cabal. We're actually going to give them the notch over Absolute. And then we're going to give them the notch over Immortal. And I would actually, yeah, I'd put them right here between Astral and Immortal X-Men. So we're going to stick them up here for now, just because I know that they can kill like Mephisto comps on defense, and they're a new statted team. So we're going to leave them there. Yelena and the skill military team, garbage. New Avengers is a pretty good team in Alliance Wars still. So we're going to put them in the good tier. We're going to put them above A-Force, and we're going to put them above Eternals. We're going to put them right next to the Masters of Evil team. They have some really unique mechanics where they can stop speed bar gain on in Alliance War. So if you're fighting against teams that have like Hive Mind or Super Scroll, things like that, New Avengers is a very good team to use because Ronin's passive stops speed bar gain in Alliance War. New Warriors, best cleanup team in Cosmic Crucible at the moment. They were once one of the best teams in Cosmic Crucible, but they've had much, much better days. We're going to stick them in the good tier, and we're going to put them a notch above Eternals and a notch above New Warriors. Again, just because I'm a huge fan of Cosmic Crucible. And then Hive Mind, we're actually going to stick Hive Mind kind of like back here. I think this is good. I think Gamma is still better than Infinity Watch, Masters of Evil, and New Warriors as a full, but New Warriors is now just more of a cleanup team in Cosmic Crucible, in my opinion. Night Stalkers, all the way to the top. God tier, for sure. We'll fix the god tiers maybe towards the end of the video, but Night Stalkers are an absolute unit. I freaking love this team. They are so good. They are so good. Blade, Oath, and Agatha are just incredible characters. Moon Knight typically gets replaced for me when I'm using them in Cosmic Crucible. In Alliance War, you can just keep the whole team together. It's fine. But my goodness, is this team super duper strong. If you haven't built up your Night Stalkers, make sure you do so. Run, don't walk. Orcus, another god. Actually, I'm going to stick Orcus. I'm going to stick Orcus at the very top of Demigod. I think this is kind of where they belong. Orcus, new stated team, such a powerhouse, both in defense, and you can sometimes use them on offense as well. But the fact that you have Lady Deathstrike with their new stats, Lady Deathstrike is an absolute unit. Nimrod does so much freaking damage, and Sentinel putting out the spawn, the summons on spawn with taunt is so annoying. So if you're not bringing in the right team against Orcus, you're definitely going to have a hard time. So Orcus, I'm going to stick at the very top of Demigod. Let's move on. Out of time. Very, very good Alliance War team still. So we're going to stick them. We're actually going to give them the notch over Gamma. Is Out of Time a demigod team? It's kind of the question. I don't know. I don't know if they're a demigod team. I'm actually going to stick them right here at the very top of good for now. And then we'll see if we want to stick them any further, because it's really just Black Knight. The other four members are Out of Time, don't really get much use outside of Alliance War, but Black Knight by himself gets a ton of use for me in Alliance War, Cosmic Crucible, and other places. Pegasus has seen much better days. Unfortunately, I wouldn't put him in trash because they don't belong. Pegasus doesn't belong with these other teams down here, but they definitely don't belong with any of the good teams up here. So they're just a good team. Would I give them the notch over Heroes for Hire? Sure. Notch over Pegasus. I mean, as Guardians, sure. I'd probably just leave them right behind Darkhold, in my opinion. Power Armor, garbage. War Machine got a rework, so he belongs on a different team. So he's just the rest of the Power Armor team is just no longer relevant. Pimp Tech, trash. Ghost is going to get a rework soon, but for now they're garbage. Ravagers, garbage. Really sad to see this, man. Star-Lord T'Challa has one of the most unique kits I've ever seen in Marvel Strike Force. He's the first character to steal ability energy. And yeah, if Ravagers ever got a stat rework, or if T'Challa by himself ever got a stat rework, I think we can actually get some use out of him in the meta. But yeah, sad to see. Ravagers was a pretty cool team on Alliance War for offense, but now they're pretty stat crept, and it's mostly just a bunch of minions on that team anyway. Rebirth is actually a team that's needed for, I can't remember the unlock, but I know they're needed for one of these scourges slash trials. So for that reason, and in terms of just their like how good the team is, they're a decent team. We're actually going to just stick them right here in between Pegasus and Asgardians. The team in itself is not very good, but a lot of the members that you're building for Rebirth, you're going to need for the Out of Time team anyway. So I guess for that reason, we'll just kind of leave them in there. They're better than all the trash teams down here, but they're not as good as some of the teams in the good tier. Secret Avengers. Again, another good tier, another good team. Captain Sam got a massive stat rework, so he is an absolute unit. Is he better than Heroes for Hire? Yes. Are they better than Asgardians? Yes. Are they better than... yeah, I mean, I'd stick them probably like right here, right? The rest of Secret Avengers are not really used. Don't even remember the name of the characters on that team. You got like Maria Hill, Sharon Carter. Like, yeah, nobody really uses Secret Avengers like that anymore. If anything, Captain Sam is just the reason why they're placed so high. Secret Defenders, though, on the other hand, I still think Secret Defenders are a demigod team. The three-piece with Black Cat, Miss Marvel Hardlight, and Ghost Rider Robbie are still very good, in my opinion. Do they belong up here with some of these characters up here? You know what? This might be controversial, but I think they do. I don't think they're as good as some of these teams over here, but as the three-piece with Black Cat, Robbie, and Miss Marvel Hardlight, you could do a lot of good things. I like to use them with Eternals, and I use them to kill like Spider Society teams in Cosmic Crucible. That team actually works as well in Alliance War. Given the right punch ups. But Black Cat by herself as well, just being able to strip revives on a passive, and not having to depend on waiting to get an ability off, like similar to like North Star, right? North Star can strip the revives, but he has to get to his ultimate first. Black Cat can just do it on spawn, which is awesome. So the fact that she can do it on her passive really just kind of bumps this team up, in my opinion. Shadowlands, garbage. Shield, garbage. Sinister Six is kind of in an interesting place in the game. So they have, and to this day, have gotten one of the best reworks as a whole in terms of like a specific team or trait. They have gotten the best rework today, but Superior Six has kind of fallen off, right? Like you kind of have to prioritize like a lot of characters with new stats. Any character post Ares is going to have the new stats. So Illuminati was actually the very last team to be released that had the old stats, and then after that you have all these teams up here that have all the new stats. You got Absolute, Immortal, Mighty Avengers, Astral, Orcus, Nightstalker. All of these teams that I just mentioned all have new stats, which is probably the biggest reasons why they're up here. So Sinister Six is kind of in a weird spot just because of the members that are on that team. Let's see. You got Superior. Okay, we do have Superior Six to cover as well. So we're going to stick Sinister Six kind of in the back of good tier just because of how many useful characters are actually part of the Sinister Six. We're going to just kind of stick them right here. Spider Society, still a pretty good team. I think I'm going to stick them at the very top of good tier. I don't think they're a demigod tier team anymore, though. That might be controversial. I don't know. They're old statted characters, but they work super well. But you know what? Just because of how good they are in Dark Dimension, we're going to give them the notch over the Secret Defenders, and we're actually going to give them the notch over the Cabal team. So I'm going to stick them right here, okay? Just because of how good they are in Dark Dimension, because there's no other good city option. If you run a full Spider Society team for your city nodes in Dark Dimension, you're going to have a really easy time. They're useful in Alliance War, I guess, on defense, and they're useful as a defense team in Cosmic Crucible, I guess. They're kind of they're ran over. There's so many good counters to them, but because of their usefulness in raids in the skill section and their usefulness in Dark Dimension, we're giving them that demigod rank for now. That could change though. Superior Six, still a very good Cosmic Crucible team, still a very good Alliance War team. I like Superior Six a lot. We're actually going to stick Superior Six in the very, very back end of demigod tier. Okay. I think this is where they're going to go. Actually, they're going to be better than Secret Defenders. I don't know if they're better than Cabal though, in terms of like, actually, yeah, they are better than Cabal because Cabal is good in Crucible and War, but they're not as good as Superior Six is. Do I give them the notch over Spider Society? I don't know. It really just depends, you guys, on what you value more, whether you value raids and Dark Dimensions over like Crucible and War, because I value Crucible and War a little bit more than raids and Dark Dimension personally, just because of how I play the game. I'm going to give them the notch over Spider Society, and I think we're going to leave them there for now. Supernatural, garbage. Symbiotes, sadly, I have to put them in garbage. Tangled Web as the 2-piece or the 3-piece. The 2-piece would be what, 2099, and Spider Weaver, the 3-piece would be, with Noir, but Noir belongs on the Spider Society team. But the 2-piece of 2099 and Spider Weaver are still pretty good in my opinion. Even though they're power corrupt, their kits still stand the test of time. They're very, very fast right out the gate. And if Spider Weaver gets her charges off, it could be pretty annoying for the enemy team. So for that reason, we're going to give them the notch over the Eternals. And I think this is a good spot for them. I think this is a pretty good spot for them. You could make the case that they're better than New Avengers and maybe even better than Hive Mind. I don't know. This one's kind of a weird one for me. I don't really know exactly where to place them here, but I think they're going to be somewhere in this little section right here. I think we would give them the notch over. We wouldn't give them the notch over New Warriors because New Warriors sort of were released to counter Tangled Web. So I think they're going to be right behind the New Warrior team. All right. Uncanny Avengers, demigod tier team, in my opinion. They're needed for the raids, so for that reason, we're going to stick them next to Alpha Flight, but we're going to give them the notch over Alpha Flight just a little bit, just because the cool thing about Uncanny is you have the 3-piece in Jean, Grey, Storm, and Beast. So that trio is actually the same team that's needed for Immortal. So the fact that you can double dip right there is actually really cool. So we're going to stick them a notch above Absolute A-Force, just because it's really just Kahori that's carrying the crap out of Absolute A-Force in terms of ranking. And then there's more characters on the Uncanny and Immortal team that are going to be better. So I'm going to give them the notch over Immortal just because they are a raid team. So this is kind of where we're going to leave them. I think Uncanny is very, very good. Uncanny X-Men, on the other hand, is pretty garbage. It's pretty garbage. They're probably the best of the garbage team. I don't know. Do we even bother like placing these garbage teams in any particular order? Probably not. I don't want to waste any brain power doing that. Underworld's still a pretty good Alliance War team. They're probably, I don't know if I put them in the good tier. You know what? I like Underworld. I don't care. I'm going to stick Underworld at the very end of good tier. I love this team in Alliance War. Yeah, it's one of my passion projects, and yeah, we're just going to leave them there. If you disagree, let me know in the comments below. Undying. Oh my gosh. Undying, especially now that Scarlet Witch is on the team, is super freaking good. I'm going to put them at the very top of good tier just because of how good they are in Alliance War. Like, dude, they're insane in Alliance War. So we're gonna stick them right there at the very top of Demigod. Or very top of good. Do they belong in Demigod? I'm just not sure. I'm a little bit unsure about that one. Unlimited. Unlimited, I think, is going to be an average tier. Rogue, yeah, I mean, Unlimited is a Cosmic Crucible team, but they're just, yeah, they were the first Cosmic Crucible team that was ever released, but they're just not very good anymore. So we're going to stick them at the very top of average tier. They're probably the best of the quote-unquote Horseman teams. Actually, no, Gamma is the best of the Horseman teams still, so Unlimited probably second. Darkhold, you can make the case too, but we're going to stick them there. Actually, no, Unlimited, we're going to stick them just next to Darkhold. There we go. We're not going to, give them any special treatment. They're just as good as Darkhold is. It's really just Morgan and Rogue. Rogue you're using as a plug and play character, and to stick them with Extreme and, make a team out of that. Wakandans, fortunately, are pretty trash. We're going to give them the notch over as Guardians, Rebirth, Secret Avengers, Pegasus. They're still, just a cleanup team. They're just a cleanup team in Alliance War. They're not really doing anything. Wave 1, sadly, trash, but because I love the Avengers, we're going to stick them right here at the very top of trash tier. Weapon X, another team that has seen much better days in Alliance War. They were my favorite offensive war option a long time ago. They're still pretty good. We're going to go ahead and stick them above Hivemind. And because, yeah, we're just going to leave them there above Hivemind. Not much to say about Weapon X. Omega Red is still a pretty awesome character. They're very good in Alliance War, but outside of that, they're kind of boo-boo. Web Warriors, trash. X-Force, trash. Extreme, Extreme is still a pretty damn good team. They're used in Alliance War. They're used in Raid. If you don't have the Uncanny team build, you're still probably using them in raids. And I mean, really, it's just Nightcrawler. Like, how much are we valuing Nightcrawler and Gambit, right? I think I'm going to stick Extreme at right next to Undying. I don't think they're a demigod team anymore, but I still think they're a very good team. So I'm going to stick them next to Undying. I'm only giving Undying the edge. No, I'm going to give them the edge over Undying. I'm going to give them the edge on Undying. I'm just trying to think, like, in terms of like the characters, like how useful and how, how powerful are they in multiple different game modes. And damn, I'm debating between demigod and good. I'm going to put them in demigod. I think they deserve to be in demigod. They're probably the worst of this team on the list in terms of demigod teams go. And then do we give them the notch over Secret Defenders? Maybe. I think we give them the notch over Secret Defenders. I think Secret Defenders, again, this is probably the most controversial demigod pick in my opinion. So we'll leave Secret Defenders at the very last, but I think Extreme does belong to be up here because of how good they are in multiple different game modes. And then last but not least, we got Young Avengers, trash. They're still good in war, so we're going to leave them next to Heroes for Hire. And I hope we're not missing any teams, man. Big shout out to Valley Flying for making these the images of of these teams and making a tier list out of it. So I want to give a huge shout out to Valley Flying. If you guys are interested in this, I will go ahead and save it and I'll post it into my Discord. If you're not in the Discord, I'll post the Discord in the descriptions down below. This is going to be my list here. Let's just kind of go back and see if there's any changes that we need to make up here in the God tier. Oh boy. Where do we put Hand? Oh yeah, we put him down here. Yeah, that's where they belong. Sorry. Annihilators. So we got Annihilators, Mercs, Illuminati, Night Stalkers. I'm going to give the edge to Night Stalkers because they're much better in more game modes. And you know what? I'm actually going to give Night Stalkers the edge over the Mercs for Money team. So there we go. I still think the Annihilators are the best team in the game, followed by Night Stalkers. Then you got Mercs and Illuminati. So this list is coming out in February/March of 2025. We still have the Starjammers team to come out, and we haven't gotten any info on Professor X. But this is the list in my opinion. I think 4 God tier teams. Then you have a handful of demigod tier teams. I think I've already arranged them the way I'd like. Let me know what you guys think. If you guys agree or disagree, cheers, jeers, let me know in the comments down below. And again, if you guys did enjoy this video, thank you all so much for watching. It's your boy Wapo signing out. Catch me live on Twitch, twitch.tv/Wapo. That's WAHPOH. Links in the description down below. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.